Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say this. Being married, you know, I have a marriage license. People say that being married, my wife is supposed to have her own body, and I'm supposed to have my own body, and I do. I have my own body. And they say my wife is supposed to have her own body. And I never agreed to any kind of a separation, you know, of those types of situations. So they say if her name is April Williams, she's allowed to use the name April Williams. It is not wrong for my wife to use the name April Williams if my wife's name is April Williams. I'm not sure if her name is April Williams, and I've said it before, but being married, if someone pretended, you know, for bad reasons, you know, or for their dad or their family, if someone wanted to be a family, they said there's no such thing as a family license. But there is a such thing as a marriage license with the date of April 30th of 2004. And if the person that was there on April 30th of 2004 is named April Williams, or if her name is not April Williams, it doesn't matter what her name was. If she was there to start a fight or for bad reasons or working for Antoine Johnson or any of those criminals, if they wanted me to beat a child or cause a miscarriage or start a fight, and they wanted me to die before the child was born or at any point in time, you know, so that they could collect insurance money or body parts or organs, and if they were part of those families, you know, those groups of people that molested and abused me, she did wrong, you know, those types of situations. This is what was told to me, you know. So her name doesn't really matter. I don't worship a name, and I don't worship an image. I was told that bowing down is not the same thing as worship, because if bowing down was the same thing as worship, it would be called worship, and it would not be called bowing down. Bowing down is bowing down. Worship is worship. And according to what I read in the books, you're not supposed to worship any being, thing, stuff, object, or image before God. It said, put no other God before God. It never said you're not supposed to worship at all. It just said not more than God and not before God. According to the books I've read, it just said not more than God and not before God. And it said God is not a man. So, you know, if a girl, you know, was doing stuff for her dad and her family, you know, and all of that, and they wanted to build a family, and they wanted to go to a family court, I was told that I don't have to go to a family court, because since I believe in God and I am for my marriage, I have a marriage license, and there's no such thing as a family license, you know. So a family court is not about marriage. It's about a family, you know. So if they were having a family feud or a family argument, I was told to stay out of it, you know. And so being married, I'm supposed to be a husband, and my wife is supposed to be a wife. she's supposed to be my wife and I'm supposed to be her husband, you know. And she's not supposed to have, you know, other people being her husband and other people being her wife. The same way I'm not supposed to have other people being my husband or other people being my wife, you know, since they do this gender stuff these days, you know. She's supposed to have her own body in her own person. And I'm supposed to have my own body in my own person. You know, like when the police be like, do you have anything on your body or on your person that may stick or poke you? They call your body your person. So she's supposed to have her own body in her own person, and I'm supposed to have my own body in my own person. And me and her are supposed to be married, you know, in the same room, you know, married, you know, and, you know, if she wants to be with children or a family and others, you know, then it's her body in her person, in her choice. And she would have to give up. And she can't have me as a husband or as a prisoner. She can't claim me as a husband or as a prisoner because you can't have it both ways. You know, it's the way it was explained to me, you know. You're either in a family court trying to be a family and trying to please your family and trying to do something that can't be done because there's no such thing as a family license. Or you're either married and being a wife and your house is whatever home your husband is in, is the way it was explained to me. So being a husband, if I'm in this room is my house and this room is my home where my wife is supposed to be, you know. If a person decided that, you know, they wanted the world and friends and family and stuff like that, I'm not judging them, but, you know, you can't just have me on hold and stuff like that, you know. And since you're not supposed to worship any being or anything or any stuff or any object before God or more than God, whether her name is April Williams or whether her name is not April Williams, I'm not going to go crazy over the name or the image of a person who is not God. You know? So, I said what I said, you know. It, someone wanted to have children and someone wanted to have a family. And I believe in God. And I'm the type of guy for marriage, you know. Whatever their bee religion is, you know, because someone said there was like the birds and the bees where they said they had a queen and they called it a queen bee. And all of the girls were her girlfriend and all of the boys were her boyfriend and they worshiped a queen as a bee. I'm not part of those religions. No. When they said that a person was called the queen bee, and I'm not even sure if they have a king, and they said everyone else was a worker bee for a queen bee, It's the way that people explained it to me. They said some people decided to be part of a different religion. They said that someone was a queen bee and that all of the other people were bees and worker bees, and they took turns having sex with the same queen bee. Not me. It's sex abuse. If they did that stuff to me, and if they took turns with me, it's sex abuse. And I said, no, I don't like it. I'm not B. I'm not a bee. I'm not a worker bee for a queen bee taking turns having sex with a queen bee. I'm not part of a bee hive or a bee kingdom of bees and worker bees working for a queen bee. She is not my queen and I am not her bee. Those situations, you know. They said it was a girl that wanted two husbands, or a person that said they was a girl or a guy. I don't know whether they said they were a dragon or a queen or something. I don't know. Someone wanted to have two husbands or two wives and stuff like that. Not me, you know. I don't know what happened before April 30th, 2004, on April 2004, April 30th, 2004, on April 30th, 2004, or after April 30th, 2004. I'm not sure what happened. It just seems like I was molested a lot. And someone was using the name April Williams. You know. They have their family. Whatever they did. They made their children. They did what they said they were going to do for whoever they said they was going to do it for. And, you know, I'm not sure why or what they did, you know. I believe in God, you know. I'm not going to go crazy over the name April Williams. I'm not going to go crazy over a piece of paper from April 30th, 2004. Before April 30th, 2004, after April 30th, 2004. Someone tried to make me a fighter, and I am crazy from the abuse, but I'm not suicidal. When I went to 2715 Avenue E. Inslee, someone was using the name April Williams and they kicked me in the penis and they started a fight a long time ago. I did not start that fight that they started. August 9th, 2015, someone stood in the door and said I had to fight them in order to leave out the door. I did not start those fights. Whenever a person used the name April Williams and did stuff that I did not want them to do, I never killed them. I never murdered them. And I never whipped or beat the children, you know, that they say are the children of April Williams, you know. I'm not an abusive person, you know. Someone did all of this stuff to try to make me seem like an abusive person, and I don't have any victims. Even when a person used the name April Williams, they said I'm not the person who abused him and that someone else had set the situation up because they wanted me to look abusive because someone else is abusive. And obviously, I'm the one who was abused. So, you know, it's crazy. So, you know, I'm not sure of why or what they did, but since I was under the influence of psychiatric drugs and medications and drugs that they got from the drugstore ever since I was 5 years old, molested and abused, and I never killed anyone, and I never pulled a gun on anyone, you know, a real gun with real bullets in it. People say there's no excuse for what the other marriages did when they said it was a husband and a wife, and other husbands pulled guns on their wife, and other wives pulled guns on their husbands. And when they killed each other, if I went through all of this abuse and I never abused any of the children and I never had sex with underage children, you know, and I never put a gun to a person who said they were my wife's head, you know, stuff like that, or to anyone's head, you know, a real gun with real bullets, stuff like that, not just a toy. People say there's no excuse for when the other guys did it, you know, because if they don't have the same scars and the same bruises and the same story that I have, and proof that they were abused way more than I was, what's your excuse? Is what they say, you know.